What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and we have a good amount to talk about. And I said I was going to drop this tomorrow, but I'm going to be honest, I thought the banners were going to drop tomorrow. They're dropping tonight. So, video number 4 for the day. What is even up with this craziness? So, let's get down to the third Danmachi video. I'm trying to get back into Dokkan, y'all. Don't hassle me. So let's get down to it, guys. And before I get to this, do remember we are going to be doing the live stream tonight as close to 9 p.m. as I can muster it. I'm really working hard to get back onto that schedule. So if you want to join us for the live stream, when everything drops at 10 p.m., we will be doing some summons. We'll be doing all that kind of stuff. But we're going to be doing the story event first as well. So come join us, guys. It's a lot of fun. 9 p.m. Eastern time, really about, what, 2 hours from the time I drop this? So, yeah. Come join us, guys. Now, the third banner for the anniversary. Let me first of all say I was not expecting this. I really did not think they were going to do this. I'm not surprised, honestly, for as much as they've been hyping Artemis, and as much as Artemis is part of the story. I'm not shocked, but I am a little how do I word it? I don't know. I want to save my iris for part 2. I really do. And I want to tell you guys to save for part 2. But before we just get crazy, because I've had a habit of doing that. I have a habit of just going off and saying, don't worry about these units. They're not time limited. Just move on with your life. And honestly, I did that last year with the Light Bell that dropped. And he turned out to be absolutely insane. So rather than just going with, like, that gut instinct and, you know, throwing it away, let's legitimately talk about them, because there's a lot to talk about with Aphrodite. There really, really, really is. So let's get down to it, okay? First things first, we've got Aphrodite here, and let's talk about her skills. Let's actually get into this, okay? Her stats, first of all, very good. You know, I always like to get towards that 4K HP mark. 37's 35 isn't great, but it's not bad for a magic unit. And her magic stat is fantastic. Anything over 2,000 for a magic unit is like next level stuff. So that's really good. And she has a really good defense. She has an S-class defense stat, which is really not generally the case for a magic unit. So for a magic unit, she's really, really, really good. MP is okay. Not amazing, but is okay. Now, so basically what you're looking at, and her agility is phenomenal. Let me just go ahead and say right out of the gate, her agility is insane. It is darn near a triple S stat. It is ridiculous. In fact, I bet you with just a little bit of CP, old girl is going to have a crazy, crazy stat. Okay? Now, one thing worth noting here, this doesn't show purple stars for Hero Ascension. It does show the gold stars, but all these stats are at max limit break and full Hero Ascension, so worth noting. Also worth noting, this unit is not time limited. Is not time limited. So if you didn't pull Aphrodite during the other event, and you don't really want to spend your iris now, she'll be in the general pool. She'll be there to nab at any point in time. So Aphrodite, as it turns out, isn't really necessary from the current banners for your CP collection. Now, I do emphasize that this is for CP collection that we're talking about, because remember, when these units drop and they're unique like this, they go into your CP pool, and then there's, you know, iris you can farm up from there, plus you can upgrade the units and all that stuff. So if you don't pull her today and you don't pull her on this banner, you can pull her down the road with a ticket or, you know, whatever. So, and we're getting a ton of 11 draws right now. So whenever the general pool is updated and she's thrown in there, who knows? Who honestly really knows? So I do like that a lot. And that immediately makes me want to say don't summon for this unit, but let's first, like I said, get into her skills, okay? And before I get into her extra skills, let's talk about passives. Normally I do the skills first. I'm going to do the passives first, because her passives are interesting. Fire resist plus 35%, we expect that. When countering instead of attacking, all allies extend buffs by 1 turn. So that's really good. Remember, every time she counters, but she's not going to counter in the traditional sense of attacking. She's literally just going to go, all right, everybody, there you go. More buff. Have at it. So you don't necessarily need somebody on the team that extends buffs. She's just going to do the job. And so from a PvE standpoint, that's really awesome. We have a few units that will utilize some of those turns, like, extensively. And so if they're using, like, basically they use up an extra turn to get off an attack or whatever, there's a few units that do that. Or even use 2 turns. If you have, like, Haruhime on the team and this Artemis, every single time, or Artemis, Aphrodite, I made that mistake last video. Aphrodite, every time Aphrodite's attack, so there you go, guys. And remember, if she's in the right situation, she could do that 4 or 5 times a turn. So you could be sitting there with, like, 87 turns. You don't laugh, I've seen it. 87 turns at the end of, like, turn 10 or whatever. We're just like, there's no way in hell I could use all of these, and it's amazing. So there are some benefits to that. That's actually really nice. Now, that does take away from her as a DPS unit, but we'll get to that in a minute here, okay? 35% magic agility and dex. That's very, very good. Her magic stat is already good. Her agility stat is already good. Her dex stat is pretty good. Not phenomenal, but good. So basically, she takes everything she's good at and makes it even better. 40% damage reduction on guard. So when she's guarding, she's going to tank like absolute crazy. So she's going to be a really good tank. And we've already talked about how she's, in the previous video, how she's really good for, like, PvP events. So, note she's going to be a tank on top of everything else. 20% damage on critical and penetration, okay? And she's, as you can already see over there, skill is going to buff critical and penetration. So, good times. Now, let's jump into her actual skills, okay? And this is where I'm going to be a little critical of this unit, all right? And if I come across as, like, super harsh, the whole reason for that is I honestly want a reason not to summon for this unit. That is the reality here. That is the direction I'm coming at this from, because I don't want to spend free-to-play Iris on another unit. Might wail for her, but that's a whole other situation. So skill 1. Foes, plural. So, she's already, basically, anytime you see foes, plural, start thinking war game. So think about how can she be utilized in wargame. Fast, so it's a fast attack, so it's going to be really quick. The only person I think that can beat her is, I think maybe some of the magic units from 3rd Anniversary, some of the light news from 3rd Anniversary, maybe lead on his second attack, but you wouldn't be using this anyway. And of course the new Lily. Those are the only units that really might be able to beat her. Fast, AoE damage taken plus 35%. So she's going to debuff your opponent's AoE resistance, more or less is how that kind of works. And that's for 4 turns. And in Wargame, you're never really going to have that situation. And the best part is, because she does that, like, as a fast skill, basically everyone that goes after her, which is literally just about everybody on your team, they are all going to hit 10 times. Or what was it? 35% harder, not 10 times. They're going to, I'm not going to exaggerate, they're going to hit literally 35% harder. So there you go. And she gives herself magic dex, physical resist, and magic resist plus 60%. Now, she doesn't buff her water skill. That is one kind of major downside here. She doesn't buff her water skill on this, but she does buff her magic plus her dex, physical resist. Everything she's doing is trying to make herself a tank. And she's going to tank really, really, really well, as we've already noted. So don't think of her as like a crazy good DPS. Think of her kind of more or less as like the rock of your team. Great support, gonna tank like crazy. And secondary attack. Foes, plural, low water magic attack. Not a mid, I really wish it was a mid, but it's a low water magic attack. 150% damage if your enemy is charmed. Now, that takes us to skills 2 and 3. I'll come back to that secondary attack in a moment. Takes us to skills 2 and 3. Skill 2, turn 2. Because you would want to do skill 1, turn 1, just because it's everything that she's designed to do. Skill 2, this is where she kind of become a DPS-ish. Foes, plural, fast. Once again, a fast skill, so she knows she's going to go first. High water magic attack with ultra uncounter rate, which means they're highly unlikely to counter her. I would love to get her passive off, but it looks like with this skill, it's going to be a little bit harder to do. No, I'm sorry. Thank you, brain. That means the opponent can't counter you. So your opponent wouldn't be able to acquire that. I don't know why my brain thought that. So let's just, I'm going to edit that part out. You know what you're going to. We're just going to steamroll right through that. So literally, like, alter and counter rate basically means when she attacks, they're unlikely to counter you, which is nice. That's actually really good. I don't know why I was thinking that as a negative thing. Whatever. It's dinner time. I'm hungry. I got to go upstairs. I got tacos waiting for me. It's Taco Tuesday, yo. So, ain't enough down here to run this thing at 100% capacity. So pardon my mistakes there. And 35% charm. So remember, basically the way this works is she's going to attack everybody on the field. And at that point, everybody that can be affected by this, which, if I'm honest here, is only PvP situations. And remember, that is an ailment. So it's going to shoot the charm out there. And basically anybody that doesn't have anti-ailment is basically going to have a 35% chance to be charmed. That does mean, in theory, one person on a wargame team probably will most likely be charmed. Now, if the person... it's not even really relevant, because if there's a Bell on that team, that's going to reduce your options. Bell always has with the exception of the Chibi units, but all the Bell units you're realistically, honestly going to use in a wargame, all those units have charm resistance completely. Bell cannot be charmed. So if you go against a team that has like 2 bells on it, guess what? She's not really going to work. Okay? So that means that also her skill 1, since he's not going to be affected by a charm, the extra attack isn't really going to be terribly effective. It's still going to do damage, but it's not going to do the 150%. So basically with skill 2, you're looking at getting this out, getting the damage she's going to get, getting that uncounter rate. The really nice part is also does allies shorten debuffs by 2 turns. So when there's debuffs on your opponents, case in point, war game, they hit you with like agility debuffs, physical resistance debuffs, things like that. She's like, nah, bro, those are gone or decreased. And I like that. That's crazy good. That's really flipping good. So she's basically, you want to look at this unit. There's a couple ways to look at this unit. Right here with skill 2 for wargame alone. Is she going to be a DPS? She'll be a DPS on an ailment team. Okay? So basically, when she shoots that ailment out on skill 2, on an ailment team, every single assist you're running, should have some sort of ailment involved. And the reason I say that is because most every person that is running anti-ailment is going to run 2 or 3 times anti-ailment. And so those assists are shooting those out there because the assists generally don't have a 100% chance. They get best I think is 45% chance times 2. So every unit's going to get hit with a couple of ailments. You're literally just taking pot shots at them and hoping that something hits. You're just flinging ailment against the wall and hoping something sticks. So basically the goal here is to get the assists to go ahead and do that, and then turn 1, whatever other adventures you have that do ailments, get those out, so that turn 2 all of their anti-ailment is done, and so she can then go in and just start hitting them with charm. Now realistically, with an ailment team, you're going to turn 8, 9, 10 plus whatever. You're really trying to wear them down. The nice part about this unit is if you're building an ailment team, you can then use that secondary attack to just massacre them. Charm really only lasts 1 turn, but as she's just tossing it out there and throwing it into the wind, every time somebody's charmed, they're pretty much going down. If they don't die, they're really going to be taken down hardcore. And you want somebody that most likely is going to be throwing out poison on top of that. So if they get charmed, they get hit with the big attack, maybe the poison finishes them off. Something like that. For the ailment teams, this unit is going to be absolutely disgusting. But if you don't have an ailment team, and let's be real, most people don't, she's more looking in like a support standpoint. And she actually will be really, really, really good support. Really good support. Don't get me wrong here. While we are looking at that charm aspect to her, her attack is going to be respectable. Not amazing, but respectable. She gets a secondary attack, so that's going to help out a bit, though it's going to be moderately effective. In the rare situation where it is effective, you're going to love her, but it's going to be completely RNG, and it's not something you can rely on. When it happens, you're going to be like, ah, she's the greatest ever. When it doesn't happen, you're going to be like, why did I MLB this unit? So there is a heavy RNG to this unit being a DPS. So don't look at her as a DPS unless you're on ailment. Look at her as a support. So we've got 35% AoE resistance. We got a good buff on her. She's going to tank like crazy. And she's going to extend your buffs and take away your debuffs. This unit is going to be really good on Wargame. Really good. Skill 3, Super Water Magic Attack with Temporary Magic Boost and Charm. So it is worth noting that this charm is, I believe it's 100%. I believe, like, when she hits, she's going to charm. But being a single target skill, you're never going to want to use that in Wargame. It's fairly pointless until you have, like, one unit left on the field. And even then, you want to kill them faster than using this. Being Super Water Magic Attack, yes, it does have a Temporary Magic Boost. It's not a great boost. It's not a super boost, anything like that. This is not a skill you're ever going to use. This is literally a throwaway skill. Like, it is, like, 99.9% of the time, you're never going to use this skill. Now, let's get into her essay. Because this is the one situation where I think we can actually justify truly, honestly, at least summoning for one of her. Skill, alright, so special skill is Foes, plural. Ultra Water Magic Attack with Temporary Great Magic Boost. It's a good hit. 50% Charm. Very nice. Allies critical rate. So here's the best part. Allies critical rate, penetration rate, and counter rate all up 60% for 3 turns. Now, I hear you saying, sounds great. Why do I care about this? It's an essay. Well, if you haven't basically ever used a unit for its essay as a sack, basically what you do is your whole goal, turns 1 through 3, maybe even 4, depending on the team. Your goal is just build up SA as fast as humanly possible. And this is the one situation, the only situation, where you can see this unit actually being super useful in PvE. That being, you throw her into a fight, let her get her up to turn 4, have no armor, no nothing on her, let her get up to turn 4, hit that, like, major attack there. And while it's not going to do insane damage because it is AoE, we're talking, like, Wargame, or sorry, we're not talking Wargame, we're talking, like, Record Buster, EX events, things like that. Anybody that doesn't remove debuffs, she's going to come out of the gate, she's going to hit that big old debuff, and then that unit is then affected. Your goal then is to keep everything in play, and, or I'm sorry, I said debuffs. Removes buffs. Basically, any unit that doesn't remove buffs, all your units get buffed. She just sit there and go, what's up? And then croak. That's the whole goal. Let her, like, get this out, and then, you know, if she lasts another turn or two, whatever. You get the extra attack from skill 1, and it's going to do what it's going to do. But this skill is going to be crazy, because that means that every unit after that, so long as you're in a situation where debuffs aren't, or buffs, keep saying debuffs, buffs aren't removed. Critical rate, penetration rate, and counter rate, 60% for all your units is unbeatable. That's going to be crazy. So basically, you want this unit like level 60. You want this unit like with no armor, or at least very low armor. Something that basically is just going to get you to turn 4, get this SA off, and then get killed. Record Buster is the #1 place that I can think of where this really is reliably done. Familiarish incoming, probably going to be using it there too, massively using it there too. I can almost promise you that this SA meta is going to be killer in the upcoming Record Buster. Or, I'm sorry, Record Buster. Maybe Record Buster too, but Familia Rush. Sorry, once again, not enough tacos down here. I need to go rectify that, so we're going to get this video done here shortly. But I guess what I'm trying to say is get one. I hate to tell you that. I don't want to tell you guys to spend your free-to-play Iris right now. But get one. And only one. And get her to level 60. And see if you can do that SA on turn 4 and then let her croak. It's Aphrodite, ain't nobody going to feel bad. If you did that with Artemis and Winnie and all those, I might hate. I mean, I know we do it with Winnie all the time. Breaks my heart every time we do that. With Aphrodite, ain't gonna break my heart. Sorry, girl. You made that special. So, you might be a looker, but you ain't best. You ain't best, girl. Try again. So, someone's gonna get triggered in the comments. So basically, that's the number one situation where I can see this unit being really flipping good, and that is with her SA. So bear that in mind. I know I just kept saying debuffs. It is the 60% critical rate, penetration rate, counter rate, where this unit really gets crazy and could really, really, really be good for, once again, Familia Rush, Record Buster, and things of that nature. So get one, and then walk away. Hell, do the paid banner. You're guaranteed to get one then. And obviously, I wouldn't even bond her out. I would wait until after the Familia event, then see where she is in the realm of maybe bonding her out and using her as a support. But see how she does with that meta first, because like if you guys know the Winnie adventure that we got not terribly long ago, 6 months ago, most of us, like I got her +2, and I kind of regret that. I really wish I'd kept her level 60. So yeah, there are those situations where maybe you bond her out and you go, oh, she's too tough. She lasts too long. So, yeah, things to think about, guys. Things to think about. Let's talk about Artemis. I still hate the art for this, even though I did use it for a thumbnail. But it's Artemis. I can't say bad things about Artemis because it is Artemis, and she breaks my heart. You can't. There's no. I don't care what anybody says. Every real man cried at the end of that film. Shut your mouth, you know you did. Artemis, best girl. We're going to get a free one anyway, but let's talk about her skills, okay? So HP being 1,000 is really good. MP 190 is respectable. It's not crazy, not great, but it is respectable. Physical attack, don't worry about it. She's all about the magic attack. 665 is a great magic stat. Not the best, but great magic stat. Now, skill-wise, 100% ailment resistance. Now, that's going to be 75% at level 60. It's very, very important to remember. 75% at level 60 for self. Now, that's not all allies. That is whoever she is tied to. Whatever one unit she is on, she's going to be really, really good for that, okay? And she's going to give all ailment resistances. You know, Charm, which actually I think, unless I'm mistaken, I think Aphrodite is the only Charm unit in the game thus far. I could be wrong on that, but I think she's the only Charm. Charm, Poison, Sleep, Stun, Seal, all those just general annoying things. She's going to say, nah, bro, that ain't working. Ain't happening by Felicia. She's going to be great for that. But the problem is she's only tied to the one unit. Okay? 20% magic, endurance, and agility, plus 30% guard and counter rate to whatever unit she's tied to. So, hear me out on this. I was very critical of this, but somebody brought up a really valid point on this. This unit might be really good for PvP. Allow me to explain. Let's say for the sake of argument, your whole team's going out there, and you're going into Wargame, and you tie this unit onto that new Lily. We know that new Lily really gets a great magic boost out of this. We know that that Lily would then get a really awesome agility buff out of this, which she needs. Then she gets guard rate, so she lasts longer. She gets counter rate, so she gets her counters off more. This unit probably might be pretty good in Wargame. Might even be pretty good in PvE, really depending upon who you tie them to. So here's the other scenario that I'm going to throw out here for my new people. We're going to get one for free anyway. If you do chase this to MLB, and I'm personally not going to, I'm going to run the gambit and save my Iris for the anniversary. But if you were so early in the game, you have tons of Iris to farm up, you're not really worried about it, you really are trying to get better at PvE and PvP events, you know, any one of those situations like that, and you don't have the anklets, you don't have the stun anklet, you don't have the seal anklet, you don't have, or you're working on them, and maybe you're one low or whatever like that, this unit will make up the difference. If, say you've got three out of the 4, this unit's going to be really good on any magic unit you throw out there. especially a unit that maybe has a really interesting counter mechanic. That's the only real argument I can see for this unit. Now, me personally, I'm not going to be summoning for her. I will summon for one Aphrodite. I will definitely be going for that. These units are not time limited, so you'll basically be able to get them out of the general pool at some point, probably post anniversary or maybe like in the next month or two. But if I'm honest, I'm not summoning. I wouldn't recommend summoning, but I could see situations where people would want to. I'm going to say, hodl your Iris and wait for part 2 if you can help it. But if you really think this is going to help, remember that 100% ailment resist. I want to once again say that is a self buff. That is literally whoever you tie this unit onto. One unit on your team of 4 is going to be affected by this, not all 4. But if that 25% is life-changing, you're going to love it. Personally, I'm not doing it. I'm saving my Iris. That's me. But who knows? Maybe I MLB her on the route to get one Aphrodite. Who knows what's even going to happen with that. But I really feel like you guys do want to go into part 2 with 8,000 Iris. And I know we're getting a ton of Iris. I know that, we get, at this point, I think we get about like 10,000 Iris a month or some crazy, insane number like that. I'm just about ready for part 2. So blowing like, 400 or 500 Iris on, I say 400 to 800 Iris or whatever I'm going to blow on trying to get an Aphrodite, I think is for me worth. But for you guys, really heavily consider it because you want to go into part 2 with 8,000 Iris. And that sounds like a lot, but remember, we've got Record Buster, we got War Game every other week. Basically, every 2 weeks, if you're playing the game properly, you should be getting 1,400 to 1,500 Iris. Not to mention your dailies, not to mention the watching ads and things like that. So I feel like getting one of each wouldn't be a bad idea, and we're getting one of her for free anyway. But just be cautious. My tactic, not chasing her, but I will be chasing one of her. And I think everyone needs one of her. I think every single person watching this video should get at least one Aphrodite. She might be great MLB, but first I'm going to test her in Record Buster. First I'm going to test her in the Familia event, and then I'll see what I want to do with the rest. That's my 2 cents. Like, comment, share. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget, get your Toad merch also in the description down below. Like, comment, share. Catch you guys on the live stream coming up here. I said 2 hours at the beginning, and then this video went a half hour, so soon!